To have a social hierarchy is not in itself negative. On the contrary, it's a natural part of all societies to help us organize efficiently and be more successful as a group. But today, these natural behaviors are being used against us to manipulate and control the population. We refer to this as the ruling structures. We can see how the people who show a great willingness to comply with the ruling mentality are promoted to higher positions in school and working life. As a result, almost all high positions today in society are occupied by people who follow orders without questioning and who are more interested in gaining wealth and status than to do what they think is right. The top positions are in turn interconnected through even higher authorities until a pyramid of power is created that spans over nations. Through the ruling structures, a small elite on top of the pyramid can manipulate both politics, industry, media, and most aspects of our society without anyone interfering or even asking questions about what's happening. Many people claim that it would be impossible to have a hidden global agenda, but the ruling structures are creating the perfect circumstances for this to happen. Most people within the ruling structure are largely unaware of what they're contributing to. But as they choose not to question their authorities, they are not able to see the bigger picture. Many of our social institutions are being used to protect the ruling structures and to serve the power elite. And I will share some examples of how this is done. To issue and circulate money is probably the most important tool in today's society. This power ultimately lies in the hands of private interests. Private banks have the power to legally create new money out of nothing, that is, without real value backing it, and then borrow this money to the projects of their choosing, and in this way they can control the development of our society. And by giving out big loans to individuals, companies, and countries, they create a situation where a large part of the Earth's population and its nations is under the pressure of large debts. There is not enough money to repay the loans with interest, and this is causing both recession and inflation. With this powerful tool at their hands, they have everything they need to control the entire ruling structure and keep people motivated to continue their work day after day. Our democracy gives us a false sense of freedom and influence. The system is created so that only the big parties and politicians who are promoted through costly campaigns have a real chance at getting votes and to come into power. This makes it almost impossible for smaller parties to ever get recognized. Honest politicians who are not willing to follow the ruling mentality are not able to advance within their political organizations. The leading parties end up to be no more than separate units of the same ruling structures who act in the interest of the companies and lobby organizations that support them. The system is rigged, and there is little or no possibility to change it from the inside. To control our norms and our worldview, it's essential to be able to teach and reinforce the ruling mentality, and our education plays an important role in this. Our children are beginning at an early age to learn the ruling behaviors in school. There, they are also taught a rigid worldview, which many believe to be the absolute truth. There are only a few who understand that much of what is being taught is not necessarily the truth, but ideas, theories, and speculations. Even fewer understand that some things are straight out lies, selected by approved authorities to fit the worldview of choice, which gives us a distorted view of our past and present situation. It is through the media that much of our social conditioning and norms are being created. Through news and entertainment, we are constantly bombarded with conflicts and violence, together with material wealth, beauty, and pleasures. The news are painting a dark picture of a dangerous world, and this is creating an environment where people are becoming close-minded, fearful, and suspicious. People don't trust each other, and they look up to strong authorities to give security and stability to their lives. The TV is a very efficient way to influence us, because when we watch TV, we switch to a lower brainwave frequency where our subconscious mind easily absorbs the information and impressions that we see. It is also a natural instinct for us to look up to beautiful and successful people and want to be like them. So when we see the characters on TV, we subconsciously copy their behavior and so get conditioned with traits like rudeness, greed, dishonesty, cruelty, dominance and submission, fear, jealousy, and egoism. Many of which are planted there by intention to strengthen the ruling structures and to create a population that is predictable, divided, and easy to control. An important thing to understand for our success is that there is an international organized effort to counteract the growth of oppositional movements and ideas. This is carried out through the use of the secret services like the National Security Agency, who are actively protecting the ruling structures and will fight any opposition using several techniques of psychological warfare. The most common method of psychological warfare is to spread disinformation, where large amounts of false information is being propagated through the internet and the mass media. This can, for example, take the form of unrealistic and exaggerated conspiracy theories, false accusations of anti-Semitism or sectarianism, as well as giving a general negative image of anyone who tries to expose the truth about our governments. This is an attempt to discredit alternative information by creating a state of disbelief, suspicion, and confusion. Another important technique is called to divide and conquer. The Secret Service is doing this by studying a group or movement to find any issue that could divide the group into two camps. Then they infiltrate the movement and start creating a conflict around that issue on both sides. This creates emotional drainage and the power and focus of the movement is lost. At that time, it's easy for the infiltrators to take over the leadership of the movement and use it for their own purposes. Then we have the false flag operations, where the Secret Service performs acts of terrorism against the local population and then falsely pushes the blame on an oppositional group or movement. This naturally makes the people concerned for their own safety and makes them willing to support acts of violence and accept more governmental control. Many people believe that it's impossible that our authorities would harm and rule us. This reasoning is not logical, since our human history is riddled from beginning to end with examples of how the people have been ruled, oppressed, abused, and even murdered by their own government. To assume that our authorities have suddenly become benign and that all the suffering and dysfunction in the world has nothing to do with the people in power shows a serious lack of rational thinking. Our success relies on the people wake up from the false worldview and understand how the ruling structures are being used to manipulate and divide our people. With this knowledge, we can find a common strategy to unite and take back our power. You can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. So now you see the light, you stand up for your right.